Hello everyone, welcome back. This is episode number 4 in my cover to cover series where I share how I create a journal from cover to cover, start to finish. In today's video, we are going to be sewing in these signatures for our journal. I'm using a beautiful kit from nevermorecreation17.com. It is called Lavender and Lace. It is a kit that I commissioned and Lindsay created. It's a beautiful kit. There are 3 signatures. I will link all of my previous videos for this series in the description box so that you can go back from the beginning if you haven't. Those of you who do not know me, my name is Yvette, and on my channel I like to create craft tutorials for junk journaling, beadwork, paper crafting, and more. So let's get started in today's video. So in our last video we put together the signatures for the journal. We have 3 of them, and we're going to start with the last signature, move our way through to the front. So I always put them in from the last one to the first one. So I'm just going to set these aside to make it easier. And here's our cover, remember. And what I have here is a catalog that I use. This is a new one, but I have an older one that I've used, and this is the first time I'll be using this one for this purpose. But what I do is this is what I use to punch my holes. So I make a template, and if you'll remember from our last video, the spine on this journal is 2 inches. And so what I've done is I've made a template. The cover is 8 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I made a template that is 2 inches, a little under 2, because I want the holes to be inside the fabric area. So I've made it a little bit smaller than the size of the spine and 2 inches like the width of the spine. I've gone ahead and pre-marked some little dots here so that I could have a little easier time on camera. So this is probably the most stressful part of making your first journal, or even other journals. I find that this sewing in the signatures was a little bit stressful. The first time I did it, I was, oh no, what if I do it wrong? So there are different ways you can do it. I'm just demonstrating here the way that I do it. So you'll need a marker, you'll need a ruler, you'll need some kind of an awl. I got this little thing in a kit. They have several different kinds in the kit, and I'll put a link in there to where I got it at Harbor Freight. So I'll link that in the description box. So our example template is again 8 3/4 tall by 2 inches wide for the spine. We're going to go 1 ruler width up, which is 1 inch from the top and the bottom of the punch to put our first holes in. Let's get my ruler the right way. So what I did was I just went up from the, well, let's get on in screen here. We're going to go up from the bottom. You want to make sure that your ruler is straight. And the first thing you, of course, make sure the edges are straight. I cut this on a cutting, I don't know what they're called, paper cutter. So we're just going to start here at the bottom. Let me see if I can move this up on the red so you can see it a little better. And I just went ahead and marked this. So this is 2 inches. We want 1/2 inch on each side. We have 3 signatures, so then we're going to go 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1 1/2 inch. And I did this on the bottom, and then I turned it over and I did the same thing on the top. It's just easier to measure if you turn it over rather than trying to measure this way or turn your ruler over or something. So I just found turn the paper around makes it easier to measure. Now to get these middle marks, you'll see I only have one here because I'm going to do the other ones on camera so you can see. So what I did there was I just went across, line this up on the 1 inch mark. You're going to line this up, and you're just going to kind of eyeball the center one like this. So this one is not as crucial. The crucial part is to get that even with a cross is your main thing. So you want to make sure that that is equal across. So we're going to line this up. We're going to put our mark at 1/2 inch, 1 1/2 inch. And before we punch our holes, we're going to check this for alignment. Okay. I'm just going to line up those dots. And then the idea with that is when we punch the holes in our journal, then we just line these up with the template. We punch the holes, and then these will all be even. Now, we'll see if that happens, right? So I'm just going to punch these holes in here, because what this is going to do is allow us to line these up and punch those holes in the actual spine of the journal. Alright, let's get our journal cover over here. Now it is a good idea to clamp this on just to make sure that you're going to be even. Let me get that on there. And then I take that off to punch. Our last one here. Alright, let's pull our template aside. And you'll see the holes here on the back side. So at this point you may have to go in and just poke them again, make sure they're all the way through. Okay, so the next step is to grab one of your signatures. I always go back to front. I just kind of line it up in there where I want it at the top and the bottom. And then with a pencil, I'm going to make a mark where each one of these holes are. And you always want to make the holes on the coordinating signature so that if it's slightly off, it'll still be okay. Alright, we're going to turn this over, lie it flat down, and right along that crease, you're going to poke a hole. And you do have to push hard, so. And you do want to go straight down on it so that your holes are lined up properly. And that's what you'll have on the inside. Now we're going to take our signature, and I have a string here. I use my cotton thread here. And what I do is I measure out 3 times the length of the journal to get the string that I want. We're going to start in the center and just poke your needle through the center pages all the way through. Put your needle into the far right part of the spine. I'm going to pull that through like that. You're going to come up through. I'm going to turn this around so you guys can see. You're going to come up through the spine. Sorry about that. I have found it easier to come up through and then go through the pages. And you can clamp your pages down. I just find it's easier just to hold them. Go through your pages. And I do this a little different than some. So find what works for you. I go down through this side, through all the pages and down through the hole in the spine. Okay, so we want this to be tight in here. Can't get the tail through, hold on. Alright, now this is probably the most tricky part, is you have to come up through, and I usually put my tail in here on the closest to me side of this string. And then what we're going to do is, turn this over, you're going to come up through the center hole again. Make sure you don't split that thread there. See if you can see that. Then we're going to go up through those center pages again. The last page is usually a little tricky. Okay, just pull that up. And go under the thread so you have the tail on one side and the long thread on the other side. We're going to pull up on that, make sure that's tight in there. Adjust it as you need to make it tight. Okay. Let me take this needle off. And we're going to tie that up. Grab a pair of scissors here. Alright, and there's our first signature sewn in. Okay, you're going to see here how it's sewn in on this side. Let's go ahead and do the next one. We're going to do the same process for all three. I'm just going to line this up. Now, what you need to do here is line the second signature up with the first one that you sewed in. You're going to also line it up with these holes that we poked so that you get it nice and straight in there. The center one I found is probably the hardest one to get straight. So just measure them out. Move that aside. Find your center. Okay, there it is. I'm going to turn this over, flatten it down, and punch our hole. Make sure it went through everything. You can feel it there. So I've gone ahead and for camera purposes, I have 3 needles ready to go here. So just go ahead again, go through the middle of your pages. Okay, make sure that you're right side up. We're just going to take this down through the center hole. Okay, we're going to come up through that right hole in the center. Hard to do on camera here, I'm so sorry. Come up through the hole here. And like I said, I like to come up through the hole in the spine and then do the pages. I just found that's a little easier for me. And if you find like this one, it's a little bit tougher sometimes if you have different kinds of paper. They will not want to cooperate in one swoop, so you have to thread each one in. That's okay. And then we're going to go down through the last hole here. Hard to find sometimes with the pattern. I know it's there. Just poke a hole that way so I know where I'm going. Alright, go down through the other pages. Again, this one's giving me a little bit of a trick, but that's good because it shows you that it's not always as easy as that first one went in. These will all straighten up in a minute. Alright, there we go. And go down through the spine. So you'll see the pages are all messed up here. We're going to straighten that up before we cinch this all down. Again, make sure that that string is on one side. Line this up again. You're going to come back up through that center hole. And we're going to go back up through all the pages, hopefully. Now if these get stuck, this is a little trickier to get through. So just follow that thread. Make sure you're not splitting the thread. Okay. Again, make sure that that string is tight in there. Okay. Take off the needle and tie it around the center string. I do a double tie there. Okay, there's our second signature. And let's go ahead with the nice. Move to our third one and final. Again, we're just going to line this up with the edge of the former signature. Line it up with each punched hole. Mark it. There. There. Depending on the pattern, sometimes it's a little hard to see. We're going to find our center page again and punch those holes. So as you can see there, I was kind of feeling down on that crease to find that center. It's a little hard with the pattern. Okay, let's make sure they punched all the way through. Lost my page there, that's okay. Alright, let's grab our needle. And through the center. And then we're going to go up through the right side. Okay. Whoops, guess what I forgot to do? Okay, let's try this again. Down through the center. Got ahead of myself. Forgot a crucial step, sewing it into the spine. Alright, let's grab our cover here. I'm going to go down through the center. Up through the right side. I'm going to find those pages here at the top. I'm going to go down through the left side. Okay. Down through the spine on the left. Up through the spine in the middle. Being sure not to split the thread. Again through the center pages. And then under the thread. Pull that tight so we make sure that it's all tight. So what you can do here is kind of pull down. And then pull up on the other side. Make sure that's all in there. Nice and tight. Okay. Go ahead and tie that. Double tie. Alright, there we go. We got our 3 signatures sewn in. Here they are on this side. And so please join me on our next video when we decorate the inside cover and start decorating the cover and our pages. Hope you'll join me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't. Hit a thumbs up if you like the video. And hit that notification bell so you know when I upload my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.